Hello traders and welcome back. I'm Natalie MacDonald and you're watching Sydney Direct on Dukascopy TV, where we discuss some of the market events shaping APAC trading. My guest today is Stuart McPhee of OANDA. Stuart, many thanks for taking the time to chat with Dukascopy TV today. It's a pleasure to receive you.
Thank you.
So let's start firstly with sort of the type of environment that you're looking at the moment. How would you characterize that FX trading environment really?
Well, it's probably for the first time this year we're seeing a little bit of volatility come back in. For a large part of this year, I think there's been a little bit of frustration in the market. We've seen prices trade within very narrow ranges, and from a trader's perspective, all we want is opportunity to make money. We want opportunity, and that opportunity comes from volatility and prices moving. So there's been some extended periods of time this year when we really haven't seen that, and that adds to frustration. Finally, the last month or so, it's really been a turning point. We've actually started to see prices move. Just some examples, we've seen gold trade around $1,200 for a lot of this year, certainly for several months, and finally we've seen that break lower, and the last month actually move around a fair bit. And the sterling, as an example, traded around 156 for the last month or so, hasn't moved anywhere. Finally, the last week or two, it's starting to move and really provide us opportunities. The euro's done actually quite well this year. It's been one of the exceptions to the rule. Australian dollar hasn't moved that much. It's traded within ranges of about a cent, 100 pips over extended periods of time. It's starting to now finally move as it moves lower towards 70 cents and potentially lower. So right now, it's probably a good time. The volatility is picking up a little bit, but we are certainly seeing a lot more opportunities for traders, and that's exactly what we want.
Now, seasonally, this is traditionally, we're just coming out of that traditional slow period of the year, but with so many macro events taking place over the last month or so, namely the US, China, the Eurozone, has that displaced that cycle?
Yeah, I think it has a little bit. We always say currency market is a very news-driven market, but I think this year there's been really some significant, almost historical events occurring this year. Of course, it all started way back in January, and it seems a distant memory now with the Swiss National Bank and how they threw currency markets almost into turmoil and really just threw it up in the air. Dominating headlines for most of this year has been Europe and Greece, and if we just think back to not so long ago, it was very much in the news, not just financial news but global news. So that has dominated the headlines for quite a period of time this year, and throughout this year we've talked about the US and China. There's been a lot of commentary on what the Federal Reserve will do this year and how they're intending to raise rates for the first time in 9 years. So that has been heavily focused on. Now that Europe has died down a bit, all of a sudden the focus has turned to China, and we've seen what the Shanghai Composite Index has done last year and this year. So that's of course creating a lot of volatility the last week or so, or last month or so. So yes, we are seeing a lot of events, and I don't think it's very quiet at the moment when it comes to currency markets. We are certainly seeing a lot of activity, a lot of news-driven movements, and a lot of prices starting to move again, which is great for traders.
Well, picking up on some of that activity that you mentioned, are we seeing greater trading volumes? Are traders becoming more active to try and navigate these volatile markets? Yeah,
they are, and it's a good thing, isn't it? Because as I said, for extended periods of time, we've had we've had prices really just not move very, very far with the Australian dollar, gold, sterling, and a few other examples. So it is now great that we are seeing prices starting to move. The volatility is coming back in, and I am in a position where I do speak to a lot of traders, and from time to time they're just throwing their hands up in the air of going, nothing's happening. And we're hearing that week after week after week. So all of a sudden, it's a really exciting time. The last month or so, we're really starting to see prices move. And as I said, as traders, that's all we want. So it's a really, really good time right now to be looking at the market. We are seeing a lot of volume. We are seeing a lot of trader activity and interest, which is a very good thing.
With those prices moving then, as you've mentioned, what are some of the more favourable crosses that you're noting at present? Yeah,
I think they're the usual suspects. Certainly amongst OANDA, we track and publish what the most actively traded currency pairs are. And head and shoulders above the rest is always the euro. It's the euro against the US dollar. Closely for second place is the yen and the Australian dollar. So I think the interest in the Australian dollar has picked up a little bit of late, with it starting to break below that 73 cent level, heading down towards 70, and certainly the opportunity there or potential to move even lower again. Then we have the sterling, the Canadian dollar as well. So those five typically make up the five most actively traded currency pairs. generally across the currency market and certainly amongst our clients as well. So it's the usual suspects, which is probably no surprise.
Stuart, thanks so much for the insight.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
That is all we've got time for right now, but our many thanks to Stuart for his insights. Don't go away, as the Dukascopy TV team will be back with plenty more exclusive interviews and updates. For now though, it is goodbye.